Most people think that online Filipino workers do customer support, handle emails, schedule meetings, but Accenture, the world's largest professional services company, employs over 79,000 white-collar operators for Fortune 500 companies. And once you understand why they did that, even in the age of AI, will change how you think of your business. My name is Kalia Avance. I've done over 120 business audits to date and personally deployed systems for over 14 companies in the last 2 years, from pre-launch to 8 figures. And I grew up personally watching my dad run his operations with over 300 people. Breaking down Accenture, who even are they? They are this company doing about 69.7 billion per year, meaning that they are larger than Nike, they are larger than Netflix, and they run the back end of the world's biggest businesses, and they are serving about 75% of the global Fortune 500. They do not build software, but think of them as the company that actually makes businesses work. And why would they employ such a big number of their talent from the Philippines, as at this point they have been in the Philippines for over 35 years? But you might think, oh, it might just be because they're cheap. Oh, it might just be because Filipinos are known to be good customer service agents. They have good English, so it can leverage the difference. But they're doing technology operations, finance and accounting, digital transformation projects, operations management, delivery, fulfillment. And these are full white-collar roles running the back end of companies that you use every day. The talent pool that a lot of people don't actually talk about is that the Philippines produces 70,000 college graduates every single year who are well educated in English, not as a second language, but as the actual language of school, with majority of the top degrees being in business, IT, accounting, communications, which are all directly relevant to operations work. For Accenture directly, with over 35 years of building a workforce specifically for global business operations, they didn't just put 79,000 people in the Philippines for the sole fact that it would be convenient, but they went specifically in the Philippines because the top of that talent pool performs at a level that justifies running Fortune 500 companies. And what most, or even let's say the fixed 8-figure scale, is that they just think that we need to just find someone, hire them, give them the stuff that we have for the business, and hope and pray that things may come out well. But at the end of the day, if there's no clarity on what the role actually produces, there's no way to actually know if it's working, no way to measure it. Accenture does the exact opposite, where before anyone starts, they create very laid out descriptions of who they're specifically looking for. And then once that person starts working on their company, they have a clear role, they have a clear output, and they have a clear ownership of what they're actually going to be working on from there. AI fits into this because you may think like, oh, if we're going to be deploying someone from the other side of the world, then what's the difference of getting maybe locally or even some here? Yes, the other side of the world, cost of living is a lot better. There is a lot more that a few hundred and thousands of dollars can do for them in their home country. But what Accenture exactly does is they find all the best talent from the Philippines and bundle them down and then train them on how to best use their skills, be able to fit in with AI. Because one of the biggest misconceptions is that with AI, why can't we just create agents for everything? But as true business owners, we know we still need someone to be able to make that judgment at the top and then be able to use AI into its best capabilities. So what the Filipino does in their case is that, hey, they have a talent, they have the operator from the Philippines, from wherever he be, doesn't matter. What Accenture does at their scale is then they make that person be able to have the judgment, just really putting in that humanness, that taste that AI can't replicate directly for customers. Because let's say that to this day, it may change over time, but one of the biggest reasons that AI still cannot replace the operator directly is because AI may be very good to this day at doing things, making things easier internally for businesses, but the moment that you just let AI be able to talk to clients directly, the moment that AI makes a mistake, the moment that AI maybe hallucinates, maybe it goes off of the principles that you taught and you trained it, the last thing that they want to do is just have an AI who doesn't have accountability, because the last thing that you want AI to be doing is just completely replacing and directly handling customers, clients who have potentially even paid you very big money to be able to have your business help them, which at the end of the day, what truly matters. Right? Firstly, what do? They don't just give out job titles, actual Tuesday tasks. They always want to get the most competent people on their business, not specifically hiring job titles, hiring someone to be a cash operations associate. No. But instead, again, because they know that baseline of where AI and humans can be able to actually produce the best for these companies that they are serving, then the people that they hire specifically are really meant to be hired for strategy. They are meant for the growth of a specific project, a subsection, a department, and leading and making sure that they can find what is the best way to put further input and talent in, whether it may be like using more AI, needing some additional capital, resources. And the reason why that is so important for all of these companies is without having someone really responsible for specific aspects of the business. Of course, the logic of the matter is that sure, maybe these companies are not losing money because number one, they're not hiring an employee to be able to do anything additional, but this clinic would be then potentially losing out on revenue that they might be missing out, because once you know all of the numbers, you know all of the data, you need to make sure that you need to know every single number, every single metric of what is happening for every single thing that you have substantial information on, tying that back towards with the direction of pulling together this specific thing. Then number one, of course, you can really see things from a third person perspective and really just push yourself forward a bit more and be able to just do your best output for that thing, because you have someone then taking the accountability and just really mapping out every single thing that is happening in your business. Then they can push, they can exert, and you would be potentially making a lot more with just the low-hanging fruit in your business. And they employ specific people from the Philippines to be able to just really work on this. From there, the second thing Accenture does really well is that they then define what the role is actually meant to be producing. So before they start working with someone, they already have an idea of what they want to be employing for their business. What they then do internally is they have a checklist. They have a very detailed guideline of who they're looking for, what that role actually entails, and then just put that out on the market. Over time, as they have built a good brand and a good company office system where people know people who are working at Accenture, they have a very vast and wide market of people who are working towards different industries, but still altogether like typical Filipino would know someone who is working in Accenture. They give out their specific job description, and that includes everything, including what things do this role deliver weekly, how does the company and how does the individual know that it's working, what exactly does this person then own in their department. And because everyone has such clear expectations and a clear direction on how things are, what KPIs they're exactly aiming for and targeting, as they push, as they start working together, this operator, this employee with the business itself, once they go in and start really working, then everyone just has so much clarity on exactly where they need to be able to get to. And that mindset really makes sure that people are not underperforming, because everything is just really laid out so damn clearly where there are no questions, there are no things that being read in between the lines for the things that actually matter. And this is one of the things that I think Accenture does extremely well. Even other people do copy the things that they are asking for in roles from them. Yes, this is something that is very important. It just makes everyone be able to come and have more of a win-win situation. Once they're actually in the business, then again, this operator's job is that they should be the connective tissue. They should be like the person who would be then seeing everything that is of importance, making sure that where everything is, nothing really falls through the cracks, and the people above them are actually doing the work that they should be. And this is so important in how Accenture really coordinates their more junior people, because of course they give a proper path of a career progression for their employees within the business. And as they spend longer time in the business, they hit more of their KPIs, then the people can then push themselves at the beginning. Like maybe the most important thing for this consulting company is that, hey, we need to actually just figure out all of the data and make sure that we have direct insights on how each individual client that we have right now, we need to be able to understand what are they doing for our product? Are they actually happy? What made them buy from our business? How much of what we're teaching them are they actually being able to implement? So much of these little minor details and data points that most people even fail to even gather from the beginning. What they want to be doing is that they want to make sure that they have a way to be able to just collect and compile these data, like even maybe potentially even get AI's input to be able to analyze this data from a much wider lens. The thing with actually just really having more working hands in the business who have the tools that they can actually become creative on to be able to hit their KPIs, to be able to then better help the businesses as they are, number one, collecting all of these data from the get-go. And then they look at the data, they have AI, they have all these better ways to be able to better analyze this thing. Then it just really makes it so that operator, that person would have a much wider lens of what they can actually be doing for specific actionables, other things that people maybe even be missing out on, and just really making sure that the people above them can get proper visibility without having to ask, chase, reply to people, but rather as a whole, then the company is allowed to be able to just make decisions off data, not just what they feel in their gut, right?